Get this Facebook Live going. Money Mindset Live brought to you. Hey, there we are, echoing across the universe. Money Mindset.
Perfect. Let's start on time, people. It's 3 o'clock. Ready? Action. Boom. Okay. Good afternoon. Happy Monday, everyone. Today is our Money Mindset Mondays. And for those of you that are just now joining us, I'm Tia Ross, and there's my partner, Kris Miller.
Hi.
We are coming to you live every Monday, making sense out of life. What is making sense out of life? First of all, we spell it CENTS, making lots of sense out of life. It's the combination of personal development and financial development. These are both hard conversations that a lot of people, some shy away from, some run towards it. But this call is designed for you to simply relax and join Kris and I. Kris has been doing financial development for 25 years. Myself, community development and personal development, 25 years. So you are joining a call of two people that are super experienced, not just in experience because of the people we serve, but also we're experienced because of our own personal life journey and the things that we've overcome and the tools that we've used and we continue to use every single time when things pop up in our life to help us move through transitions. Our monthly call for this whole month is on the topic, what to do when you have expanded and your environment seems to be shrinking, or your environment is staying the same because you personally have expanded. You've expanded in your mind, you're over it emotionally, you're ready to let it go. You spiritually know it's time for you to move on and move up to the next level in your life. We all get to that point at some point in our life, whether it be at work, whether it be in your business, whether it's in your personal relationship, whether it's in your body relationship or your financial relationship. We all get to a point where we have outgrown, hopefully we get to the point where we have outgrown a situation, we've outgrown an experience, and we're ready to move to the next level in life. How do we make sense of it all? Where do you go? What do you do? Where do you start? You're joining us today on Monday Mindset Mondays. And today we are simply here to begin to talk to you about making sense out of life. So, Kris, we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to quickly recap and tell you what we talked about last week and then bring you into our call today. So, last week, if you were with us, we looked at recognizing that it was time to let some things go. What happens when you recognize where you are, you recognize the patterns in your life, and then you recognize it's time to let go. We have shared that over the last 3 calls. If you have joined us, then that means you have followed some steps. The first step we looked at was identifying where we are, emotionally, mentally, exhausted, or ready to move on, or feeling great. We had you identify where you were. Then we had you looking at some of the habits and patterns in your life. We had you identify some of the patterns in your life, the things that seem to just keep coming up year after year. And then last week, we talked about, now that you've identified it all, let's let it go. And that's totally your choice. We're not here to tell you what to do. We're just simply here to guide you through it. So last week we talked about, are you ready to let it go? Have you made it up in your mind and in your heart and in your spirit that you are over it? your mind is made up. If you have, then today's call is for you. Today, we're going to be talking about what to do when it comes time to letting it go. The actual process of letting it go. The bad financial habit, the bad relationship, the bad eating habit, the personal relationships, you personally towards yourself, those habits and patterns that you know you have to let go of so that you can move to the next level. So I'm going to turn it over to Kris, and we're going to start this conversation today.
All right. So let's recap now from last week. And we did a little bit of homework here, right? Everybody did the journal of what they were spending. So this is a really good indication of habits, of the patterns that we get into without thinking. And we want to talk about a really fun way to save and change your mindset around it. So I'm going to give you a really fun tip here on how to replace it. So the homework was for the week, you kept track of the money that you were spending, and you basically had 2 columns for the monies for the things that you really need, like your food, your gas, your house, and then the things that are discretionary, meaning that are optional, that you could let it go, like you don't need the new shoes right now, and just we added those up, and we found money. I know every one of you found money. And when you found that, there was actually some money there. Now we were going to start if you don't have one, but I'm using this on all levels. The same thing works for businesses as to personal. But now we're going to take that same feeling, right? And we were using from our first call with Tia, she was using going and having this pumpkin latte, right? Creamy, fluffy thing that gives you this feeling of, you're sitting by the fireplace with your family and your loved ones, and feels really good and cozy and, whatever it means to you, right? But you got a feeling that's around a drink. Now, you could take that same feeling and put it around water. You could take that same feeling and put it around the money that you're going to start saving. Because I'm going to recap something. I've said this, I'll probably say it a lot more. But, these are stats. This is facts. People that are making 50%, more than 50% of people that make $100,000 to $150,000 do not have more than $1,000 in the bank. Is that you? Now, it's not judgment, but it's just the mindset of the habitual spending that we do without thinking it. We get it, we spend it, we get it, we spend it. You'll wake up 40 years later when it's time to not work so much and not have any money. So I'm going to show you some fun ways to replace that. So you take that feeling of the latte, or my habit is keep putting money in my business instead of coming forward with what I've got. Whatever it is to you, you take that a little bit amount of money. Now, imagine, let's just say it's $10 a week we're going to put aside, or $1,000, whatever it is to you. And I'm going to give you an exercise to do. This exercise is to imagine the feeling that you feel when you buy the latte or buy the creamy, whatever it is. Take that same feeling and put it around your bank account. Put it around that you're going to wrap your kids in an education, that you're going to create a nice lifestyle for you. Imagine that this money is your future. Now, the future is now. It's not something far out, because you're living your reality of what you thought before. So now you're going to replace those thoughts by replacing the feeling. So every time you'll actually start reprogramming your brain. So when you go for the creamy, fattening, whatever it is that you shouldn't really want to eat right now because you're on a diet or something, right? You'll actually step back for a second. You will actually breathe before you reach without thinking. It's called listening. Stop, listen, and breathe. Before you react, before you spend, before you get angry. It works on every level. But we're talking about healthy money for a happy life. So this will allow you to step back. That's the tip for the week. I want you to take one thing and put it on it. Put on that money that you took from the latte and put that feeling on I put it in the bank account. What does that feel like? And wrap that yummy feeling around what it feels like to watch that bank account grow, because that's what we're talking about. Healthy money and happy life. So this is a cool way for you to do that. So,
wow. You
yeah.
know what?
Yeah.
I've been trying that, Kris. Actually, I have stopped for a moment and I got that feeling of what it feels like when I buy those creamy drinks and I like them and they warm me up inside. And I said, I wonder what that feels like in my bank account. Like that feeling of, imagine, you guys who are watching and listening, imagine the feeling of, picture in your mind a bank account, a savings account that has 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, and you don't need it. It's just sitting there. You don't need it to operate. Now imagine what that feels like, that peace of mind of knowing that you have it sitting there. So I love it, Kris, because I apply everything that you talk about and I see changes and shifts in my life. So I just wanted to tell you guys, this is super valuable for you to actually try it. Now, how we're going to make some personal sense out of all of this. You want to let a bad habit go. You want to let something go that's been really irritating you, getting in the way, whether it's a relationship, your money, your health, something that you want to change. Now, I want you to listen to me, because what happens is when you create a habit, you start to identify with that habit. You start to create an identity around it. Example, I'm always busy. I'm frustrated. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. What's your story? You know, I need to make more money. I need more money. I need more money. What is that identity and that story that you keep shaping yourself and your feelings around? Because what happens is your body, physical body, actually starts to identify itself with that emotion. And you almost become addicted to that emotion without even realizing it.
Right.
And then you get something out of that emotion. Watch what I'm talking about here. If you're in a relationship that is super exhausting, is constantly wearing you down, is taken from you, not given to you, and you have a story around completing things for the day or getting stuff done, and you say, oh, I just can't do it because this relationship is just exhausting me. Oh, I just can't do it because my worry about money is exhausting me. Oh, I just can't do it. You follow me? You're making up a story around it, which now is attaching to vibes and energy in your physical body. So therefore, you start to recreate without even realizing it. Have you ever looked up and within a month, you're in the same place around the same date? 15th, the end of the month. You start the month off at a high, or you get to the middle of the week and you have this energy, and then by the end of the month, you're back down to facing these things that won't move. Well, what's happened is you've become attached to that. You're getting something from it. Now, what you're getting from it may not be positive. What you're getting from it might be the story of excuses, so that you don't feel so bad that a month has gone by and you're still in the same place.
Right.
No judgment. But if that's you and you find yourself in this cycle and you realize a year's gone by, 2 years have gone by, and you're telling yourself, I really want to get rid of this thing, and you got a story wrapped around it, for today's call, I want for you to slow down, because today's topic is what happens when you let it go. See, because we become comforted with this crazy thing, the thought of letting it go and releasing it is going to cause some anxiety for you. So what happens when you let something like that go that has become a part of your identity? It's become a part of your story. It's become a part of your exhaustion. It's become a part of your emotion. What happens when you let it go is your body starts freaking out because it's become used to this thing. As crazy as the thing is, it could be chaos. It could be drama that you keep recreating. As crazy as it is, your body has become addicted to that thing. And when you get ready to let it go, it's going to feel weird at first because some of you have been holding on to things for a long time, for years. So it's almost become your partner. You've become familiar with it. And now you got to let it go, which means there's change now. So today we're talking about what happens when you let something go that you have been so attached to. It can feel a little scary. It can feel almost like it's not right because your body is used to the behavior that you keep repeating. So this call is designed for you to stop and not freak out. If you have been following us from the first call and you're trying to make sense out of this thing, you identified where you were, you identified the pattern, you also identified that it was time to let it go, and now it's time to let it go, and your knees are knocking and it's getting a little scary in your body because you are now denouncing this thing and saying, I don't need you to survive anymore, chaos. I don't need you to survive anymore, feeling broke and being broke. I don't need to have you anymore, poverty. You no longer serve me. You following me, you guys? This is some good stuff today. Nice. So we're going to now do a little bit of recapping, and Kris is going to recap for you, and then I'll come back and recap because we recognize that we're giving you some really heavy conversation in a short amount of time. Repeating it will help you to walk away with it. Go ahead, Kris. I'll let you recap.
All right. So, a few talks back, we were talking about expanding out of our space, expanding out of our bank account. And are your dreams bigger than your bank account? So then we really looked at our money map, or where we're at emotionally and financially, because they go hand in hand. And then we got to know where we're at. Then we got to watch ourselves for a week, spending what we were just doing, no judgment, just keeping track of that. At the end of that, then we came up with the 2 columns of what we have, what we're spending, and without any judgment, we're getting to see what these habits are. Now, Tia brought in, let's look at the feelings around these habits. What does that mean to buy that latte or the new dress or the shoes, how it empowers you or what it makes you feel like? Why aren't you already there? Because in reality, it's a habit. We were not going to judge good, bad, or anything. Their habits aren't necessarily healthy for us. So what we need to do is renew our mind. In renewing our mind, it cleanses us of those patterns. So we take a step back, and that changes the energy around the action. Because when you take a step back, you look, you breathe, and you see what you're doing before you do it, then you get control of yourself. You're not just this random thing, buying things that come into your space. And I'm using buying, but that works for every level. Health is wealth, all the levels, getting angry uncontrollably. This works for everything. So, the average person basically works their whole life, and maybe they make $35,000 to a couple $100,000 a year. But what do? They give it all away. They give it to someone else for their mortgage, their food, their gas, their clothes, their hair, their nails, and what's left for you? So I want you to take a portion of that and start paying yourself. I'm sure you've heard it before, pay yourself. But what we're doing is paying your fabulous future. we're creating that lifestyle now in the way that you think, which will manifest in the future for your reality. So that's kind of a recap of where we've been, what we're going through. Now we're creating a little money mind map. We're watching our spending. We're watching our emotions. Now this week, we're going to take that urge that we get, whatever that is, just breathe. Just look at it and see what that means to you. And then consciously take that one thing and apply it to your bank account, like Tia was saying. That's a perfect exercise.
Wow, that is so good. So remember, don't judge yourself.
Right.
Have your mind made up. Once your mind is made up, there's no stopping us. So have your mind made up. What is it that you want to let go of? What do you want to replace it with? And let's have a mind that's made up. You heard Kris's challenge to you this week. It's only Monday. So you got all week to try this out, even if you tried it out just one time. Now, next week, what we're going to be looking at, what we're going to look at is, how do you manage what Kris is talking about? How do you manage these urges and these things that you've noticed all week so that they don't manage you? I'm going to say that again. How do you manage these urges, these types of feelings that you have towards spending and relationships and those habits that you keep doing? How do you manage them when they pop up for you so that they don't manage you? Because what's been happening is those feelings have been managing you and they're causing you to do things. How do you get on the other side of it and gain control? Practice the homework that Kris gave you. That's the first step all week, guys. When we come back, we're going to have a discussion about managing it so it does not end up managing you. So, any questions in the chat box, chat them out to Ivy. We got a few minutes that we can answer questions. Ivy, do you see anything in our chat box?
There's one. It says, how do we identify the habit is already bad for us?
Okay.
Very good.
How do you identify the habit that's bad to us? All right. Well, there's two ways that you can come for that. Really, without thinking. We all doubt ourselves, but without thinking, the first feeling that you get, well, we're so programmed and we've built so much blockage to being sensitive to that. These we're backstepping. We're going backwards to catch those thoughts before they happen. Because instinctively, you really do know. You just get it. Now, the mind will come in really fast. Well, I really this or that and give all kinds of excuses why I can stay where I'm at. But I really do know instantly. Now we're going to learn how to get back to that feeling right away by some of these exercises.
Yes. And my quick answer to back up what Kris is saying is that once you do the behavior, like Kris is saying, you internally know when it's right and when it's wrong. It's the talking yourself out of it that gets you into trouble.
Right.
But here's something else to remember. Ask yourself, is what I'm getting from this behavior serving me anymore?
Right.
If you
Hold on 1 second, Tia.
We're losing our reception here, kiddo.
Yes.
We
Okay,
lost.
let's try that
over and over. But if you don't like what you're getting,
Okay, I didn't hear that last part, but
I didn't hear the question. Any questions?
okay. Is there any more questions, Ivy?
I think you're muted, Ivy. You don't realize it.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. My personal question, secondary to that question, that how do you identify it's already a bad habit? How about when you fall back, like you already identified, you try to let go, but then you start doing it over again? What will be the
Very
tip?
good. Very good.
Yes.
So we're gonna get into this on our next Monday call as well, but I want to answer that quickly for you. You gotta replace it with something. So you gotta have something on.
We're not
System, like a personalized system, because in the reality time. But how do you bounce back from that? Don't beat yourself up, and then have something in place like Kris is telling you to replace it right away. So Kris is giving you a tool and you don't realize it. She's telling you to stop and get that feeling that you enjoy, so that when you go off to do something or that habit pops up, you can actually replace it with something positive. You can replace it with something moving forward. So we're going to get into that during our next call, but that is what you do. You got to have something to replace it.
Right. Yeah, we'll break that down on the next call. So with that being said, Tia, are we have any announcements you want to share with everybody?
Yes. So we have some announcements coming up. Remember, mark your calendars for 2017. March 25th and 26th, we will be doing a live event in Chicago, North Chicago. It's opened up for the public. We'll be serving business owners, veterans, and day 2, we will serve youth and bridge the gap between youth and adults on this money conversation. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Then on April 1st in Atlanta, we have a private affair going on for women of influence. If you are a woman of influence, or you know someone that is a woman of influence, they will be able to join us in Atlanta. Thank you, Ivy, for showing those. You see, it says it's a private affair, a couture event for women of influence in Atlanta, April 1st. We only have 100 seats for that event. It's limited because we're going to drill deep on some real private conversations about the heaviness of being a public figure and being a woman that's successful. We also do a gathering in San Diego. If you know people in San Diego or you live in San Diego, you can join us at our meetup groups. If you go to legacyshifters.com, you can click our event tab and you'll see all those events listed. You can click and register there. Go to our Facebook. In Facebook, type Money Mindsets and join us. Like us there. We'll also announce stuff there. We're looking forward to it. If you live in the Temecula area or you know anyone there, Chris Miller, my partner, is there. She puts on free events in the community. She actually does wine tasting. She goes to the libraries up there. She actually has live workshops that are free to educate you on your money, on how to make it last beyond your life.
Right. December 13th, we'll have a workshop in Temecula at the library, and December 16th, we have one in Hemet. So reach out, Facebook us, and we'll give you details for that.
We got a lot going on, guys. We hope that you join us. Go to legacyshifters.com. Follow us on Facebook. Post throughout the week your challenge. If you skip a latte or skip something that you're used to buying and you put it in your account, post it in the Facebook so we can celebrate you. Kris and I are watching, and we are happy to see you next week, where we will talk about how to manage this stuff when it pops up for you so it doesn't manage you.
Right. Yes. Absolutely.
Great conversation, guys.
Legacy Shifters. And remember to post any questions that you might have in the Money Mindset
Legacy
Facebook page. Right. Legacy Shifter.
Yay. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you.